Can we park far away again? Sarah asks her father. I want to use my cane. James smiles and parks the car. He opens the back passenger door for Sarah. Her cane taps the ground as she steps out. Where to? She says over her shoulder. James closes the door. The sidewalk is ahead about 20 steps. Then we'll turn left, walking for 5 minutes until we reach the grass of the park. Sarah sweeps her cane in front of her, moving toward the sidewalk. The cars are louder. Are we close to the sidewalk? James nods, then is quick to say, yes, we are. Good job. Sarah's cane hits the curb. She stops and taps it again. She raises her cane to rest on top of the curb. She steps up and turns left. Are you following? James laughs. Yes, sweetie, I'm right beside you. He touches her shoulder and places himself between her and the road. I could almost make this walk alone. Sarah taps her cane 3 times. James chuckles. I'd say you can navigate better than I can. So when can I get a dog? James can't help but smile. She still doesn't know. Someday we'll get a dog, I promise. The doctor said I had to be proficient with the cane, and you just said I can navigate better than you. James's grin grows. The word is proficient, and yes, you are. Don't worry, I promise it will happen before your birthday. Did you ever get a dog, Dad? Sarah turns her head so her eyes are pointed in front of her father. Nope, I never had. Sarah gasped. Do you hate dogs? What makes you say that? Never having a dog doesn't mean someone hates dogs, silly. James tousles Sarah's hair. She laughs, waving his hand away. She continues walking and turns an ear toward her father. Well, have you been around dogs? Yes, I helped save a puppy once. He looks down, pressing his lips. James remembers seeing the puppy and walking by, assuming it was too late to even try. The puppy wasn't moving. Sarah stops. You saved a puppy? Why didn't you bring it home? James shakes the memory from his mind. He wasn't mine to keep. It was when you were little and still learning to use your cane. Your mom and I didn't want to bring a dog home then. Sarah continues forward, sweeping her cane effortlessly. James maintains a step behind. She breaks the silence. How did you save the puppy? Well, you know I used to be a firefighter. You saved a puppy from a fire? No, this puppy was next door to the station in a junk pile. Oh, why didn't it just crawl out? He was tangled in a rusting metal chain that was still hooked to a basketball hoop. What happened to the puppy? The other firefighters untangled the puppy and took him to the vet for stitches in his neck. We contacted the owner and they came to take him home. James bites his lip, afraid Sarah will ask what he did, which was nothing. It would have taken just 5 minutes to check on him. Sarah ambled along, silent for a moment. Can you tell me what the puppy looked like? James runs his hand through his hair. Well, you know your stuffed puppy? Rosie? Uh-huh. The puppy was about that small, but with shorter hair. The tips of its ears and tail were dark, kind of like when the sun isn't out, and the rest of it was bright, like when the sun is out. How could James explain the difference between the blonde fur and white paws, or tell her the mixed breed of a German shepherd? Is the puppy with its family now? Sarah whispers. That was 2 years ago, so I bet the dog has his forever family. Sarah smiles. Good. She slows as her cane brushes grass. We're at the park. Yes, we are. James sees his wife, Kelly, and a man with a dog walking toward them. He can't keep the enthusiasm out of his own voice. Do you want to meet that puppy? How? Sarah's brow furrows. Do you know the family he's with? In a way, James says. I'll let your mom tell you the rest. Hey, sweetie, I got someone who wants to meet you. Kelly kneels down and reaches to Sarah. Mommy! Sarah squeals, grasping her mother's arm. Who's with you? Kelly's grin wrinkles her eyes. She extends Sarah's hands until they touch fur. Sarah runs her hands across the fur, moving closer. It's a dog! James and Kelly laugh. The man with them smiles. Sarah drops her cane and rubs her hands all over the dog. He licks Sarah's fingers and face, his tail wagging his entire back. Kelly speaks up over Sarah's giggles. Stitch isn't just a pet. He's your guide dog. Ben is also here to help you learn how to talk to Stitch. We will come here every day for you and Stitch to get to know each other over the next week. Ben squats on the other side of Stitch. I have a harness for him, Sarah, if you want to walk around the park. Ben attaches the harness and handle to Stitch. Stitch stills his body, but his tail continues to wag. Sarah turns toward her mom and dad's voices, reaching out. They reach down and embrace her. This is the best day ever! James steps toward Stitch, kneeling near his head. Sorry I didn't save you the first time, buddy. Stitch licks James's hands. Sarah releases her mom and turns to Stitch. Do you want to go for a walk? She reaches out for the handle of the harness as Stitch sidesteps to her, with Ben on the other side. James and Kelly watch their daughter walk with Stitch around the park. Stitch steals glances at Sarah every few steps. Sarah stops each time to pet him.